bum 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 ba da ba da ba da ba dee ba da ba ba do dee ba da do 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 do. Is this still live? Is there a new one? Am I here? Where am I? Who am I? Is there? It says I'm live. There I am. Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I have to be really rigorous about that, obviously. I'm going to have to put that one on lockdown real quick. But that's how it goes. A good catch, though. Good on me. Nice job. Nice job. Because I'm like lackadaisical. I'm like, what? What happened? What happened, guys? Well, that's not happening again. All right, let me hide that. Public. Private. That one. I'll edit that in a bit. Thank you so much. We're back, and we'll actually move over to the other thing. We're not going to risk showing things like that. And we'll move over to my favorite topic ever, honestly, which is evolution. Evolution. And this guy stated clearly, big channel, he did a series so far of trying to justify through the evolutionary mechanisms, the flagellum, very complex things like this. And he failed to do so. He's trying to show off for his friend Destin from Smarter Every Day. And I went through every single one of his videos so far. And none of them actually deal with it. None of them. And so he keeps doing this. Now he's going to cover irreducible complexity, and he's going to call it exposing it, right? Oh, expose. He's going to expose it. I bet you anything he doesn't. There's no way. So we're going to... Now I'm warning you, his voice is... sounds like a bucket of feathers pouring down a well. I want to send him testosterone shots. But we got to get through it because these people keep putting it out, this nonsense, and they can't actually justify their nonsense. So for all you flagellum lovers...
of recruitment was likely the evolutionary process that let the bacterial flagellum transition from being a passive fiber to a spinning motor. This is the video you have all been waiting for.
Yeah, right.
Recruitment is a special type of co-option.
Recruitment. See, already he's off, right off. Wait, didn't I just see this skull at that thing we just watched? I'm pretty sure I saw that at the... Recruitment. They're going to talk about how, you know, the essentials for, let's say, the synthesized proteins that make up venomous snakes, the venom in snakes, it's co-opted, which is like saying, like, you can't justify the initial purpose for the thing, but now you're going to make a multi-purpose system to make sense of the purpose. Thank you for paying your dues. Appreciate you. Right? So watch.
It's when pre-existing traits combine to form a new system, or a trait is drafted into a larger pre-existing system. One really fun, simple example is that a lot of mammals who spend time in the water have the ability to close their nostrils at will. Here's a seal doing that. They're really good at it. They can control each nostril individually.
Wow.
A whale's blowhole, whales are mammals.
Calm down.
Their blowholes are nostrils. If you don't believe me, you can actually see this if you look at a whale or dolphin embryo as it develops. The nostrils migrate to the top of the head during development. Recent studies have found that in some mammals that have this ability, the ability to close their nose, they evolved this ability not through the evolution of an entirely new muscle.
Yeah, serious. Where's my vitamin B snake? That'd be sick.
But through the recruitment of lip muscles up into the larger nasal system. Again, recruitment is when existing traits combine to form a new system, or a trait is drafted into a larger pre-existing system.
Okay, listen there, feather voice. It's like if I asked a man to impersonate honey if it could talk. Listen, guy. You can't just be like, and then it made systems. Now it's like, oh, it made systems, and now this is how it drafts, and it pulls from existing systems that are accidental, and it makes new accidental, highly purposeful, intentional systems that do things.
So here,
recruitment.
Lip muscles have been drafted.
You know what recruitment looks like? You know what drafting and recruitment is? You know what I mean? Like, you have to go out and scout. You have to make an assessment on the proper, in this case, the proper system, composition of a system, the cells, how they work, the skin, how it works, the nerves, the muscles, whatever's involved. To use the term recruitment in any meaningful sense of the word, an application of recruitment, right, a drafting of it, would be to say it has some knowledge of what it's pulling from. Now, if they say, no, it doesn't have any knowledge, it makes it even worse for them. Because now they have to have a blind, directionless, accidental recruitment of muscles that accidentally does dual purpose. This is how insane you have to go when you're an evolution proponent. It's crazy. What happened? I left the room. I was streaming a clip of Candy Owens, and she was in a gang situation, and there was a guy holding a pew, and we all know what happens when that happens.
Into the nose. As usual, to demonstrate that evolution by recruitment is a thing. It
random
is
recruitment.
That happens in real life. I'm going to show you inferred examples in the wild. I'm going to show you examples.
Didn't I switch the Candace Owens? Oh, okay, this is different.
Of recruitment seen during domestication, and we'll see an example of recruitment that was directly observed in a real-time laboratory experiment.
Okay.
In this case, it was with bacteria, and it was with bacterial flagella. So it's a very on-point experiment.
Can you not show your face?
But before all of that, we're going to take a close look at the concept of irreducible complexity. This is a concept that the anti-evolution movement has been using to say that evolution is not possible, or at least they use it to say that the evolution of really complex traits is not possible.
It's not even, well, not possible is one thing, but even from your view, mathematically, in the scheme of things, mathematically, in a category that is unjustified in believing it happened, that it's so unmathematically compatible that you're like, wait, did this happen?
Here we're going to look at their argument as fairly as possible. I'm going to actually use their definition. After looking carefully at their argument, we're then going to see why it is that biologists have rejected that argument. It turns out that even when a system does seem to be irreducibly complex in its modern form, once you take that system's history into account, you find that that system actually is reducible. I am John Perry from Stated Clearly. You are watching How Did Bacterial Flagella Evolve? Episode 5, Irreducible Complexity
Can't wait till you tell me.
Evolution by Recruitment.
I can't
The term
wait till you tell
irreducible
me.
complexity was coined back in 1996 by Professor Michael Behe. Michael Behe is a biochemist, and he published a book claiming to have discovered a fatal flaw in the theory of evolution. Michael Behe believed that the normal process of evolution could not explain irreducibly complex structures, and he said that irreducibly complex structures are found everywhere in biology. According to him, an irreducibly complex structure is a single system composed of several well-matched, interacting parts that contribute to the basic function, wherein the removal of any one of the parts causes the system to effectively cease functioning. That is the official definition of irreducible complexity. Michael Behe used the bacterial flagellum as his case study for an irreducibly complex system. It is a single system made of multiple proteins, well-matched proteins. Some of them you can take away and the structure still functions, but some of the proteins, if you remove them, the entire system stops working as a spinning flagellum.
Yeah, and here's the thing that materialists never deal with, and you see it more and more in debates here, is that the material itself doesn't justify or make an account of how it moves and works. There's the material, and then there's what's the material doing. The doing doesn't arrive, they just have to say it arises out of the pure material. Well, no, that's an unjustified claim. So you notice how this guy with the soft voice says, well, no, the flagellum does a spinny thing. And they're arguing, my side is arguing, without these essential components, there is no spinny thing. But it's worse than that. It is definitely worse than that. It's that evolution itself, that's the positive claim, evolution, can't tell you how it develops into a workable engine that does a spinny thing to begin with. That's a different claim than whether or not the spinny thing works with or without certain pieces. They just grant themselves behaviors of things. They did it. He already did it in this video. He granted himself that evolution does this co-opting, repurposing system called recruitment. It just does it. It just does it.
Michael Behe went on to say that structures like this cannot evolve through the normal process of evolution, or at least we shouldn't expect them to evolve very often. Even though Behe coined this term, irreducible complexity, in 1996, the concept that he named is actually far older. Darwin also had a term for this concept. When he found structures like this, he called them organs of extreme perfection and complication.
Like even in his own language.
That term, though, was looser than Behe's term. Basically anything that was...
Oh, what a cope. Look, Darwin may have been a Royal Society shill, definitely a full-on racist. I mean, full-on. But stop pretending like, oh, he didn't mean it that way. Oh, he didn't mean the destiny of races. He meant just, the destiny of pigeons. The favored pigeons. Evolutionary theory, natural selection, and the destiny of favored pigeons and crabs. Stop it. No, he knew there was a philosophical element that you could read in some of Darwin's work, his writings, where he was clearly doing a little bit of a philosophical inquiry in regards to this tension between pure naturalism and design. He's softening it right now. No, he meant it different. He meant it differently.
It was really complex. Even if it wasn't irreducibly complex, he would call it that. He would call it an organ of extreme perfection and complication. The anti-evolution movement in general has been talking about irreducibly complex structures for a very long time, since Darwin's day, actually. In episode 2, we looked at this book by Robert Mackenzie Beverly, and in it he uses the circulatory system as a case study for irreducible complexity.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'll always bring this up with these Evo people. What's a circulatory system the way it is now? What is it if it's not that, before it's that? And they go, Jimbob, you just don't understand it. Professor Dave wrecked you. And I go, no, you didn't answer the question. This system that's so perfect, Darwin himself says it's so perfect, it operates with pristine function, direction, and use for the wholeness of the body. It doesn't work for just itself. It's working in contrast to a whole system. It's a system within a system. And when you really look at biology, what you're dealing with is systems within systems within systems. And each of those systems are distinct but not separate. They're distinct but not separate. There's mereology, And simultaneously, there's these unique, independent systems that do their own thing, but in conjunction with these other things. And they're all systems. The question for an evolution proponent, which you'll never hear them answer in any of my debates or any of your conversations you guys have with them, is simply this. What's a system before it's a system? What? That we're playing word games? No. To make a system, you have to have a system. The system is that makes a system. But if there's a system that exists and its ontology is to make systems, does that exist always to make system, or does it fall into accidentally making systems? They just grant themselves that systems are made. That's all they do. Circulatory systems complex? Yeah. Vestibular? Look into the vestibular system. Circulatory, all of it. It's all complex. It's all insanely complex. To say it's accidental is to take an insane position.
Complexity. And he made this argument in Darwin's time. Darwin probably read this book. In it, Beverly claims that the heart, the valves, the blood, and the blood vessels, each of which are complex parts in and of themselves, he claims that each of these parts could not have evolved gradually in a Darwinian.
We started as a tube, according to the evolution documentary from Adam Green. We just started as a tapeworm.
Manner, because each part must be fully formed before
That's right.
the system.
Endless regress, dude. Endless regress.
Itself, the circulatory system can start functioning. If you remove just the heart, you die. If you remove just the vessels, you die. If you remove just the blood, you get the point. At first glance, this argument seems really solid.
Watch this, right? First of all, it's not even necessarily I guess it is an argument. There is a set of conditions, if this then that. So yeah, it's an argument, but it's really like it's an objection. It's an objection. And the reason it's a valid objection is because evolution is the position that's trying to tell you, from a very young age, by the way, that not only your grandpa was a fish, but George Floyd is an ape, and these systems, we have a process by which these systems emerge from and make themselves usable inside of an existing system called the body. Does the body exist as a whole system before all of these appendages? Is there just a floppy skin sac that's filled with fluid that starts building internally, and it fills up and it starts to form? It goes from a sac to some sort of bony structure. Accidentally, just keeps producing new superhighways that accidentally connect these things together. What is this process?
If evolution is a gradual process, anyone unfamiliar with the diversity of life might think there's no way for the circulatory system to evolve. Why didn't Darwin, after reading Beverly's book, give
That's true, JB. Yep.
up on his idea? Why didn't he admit that he was wrong, that his whole theory was fatally flawed, and so on? The reason Darwin ignored Mackenzie Beverly's argument, and the reason biologists reject Michael Behe's argument, is because the argument is based on flawed assumptions. Michael Behe's conclusion only works if we assume that what is essential in a system today was always essential. This, of course, is not the case. I mean, it is true that if you take away a human's heart, the human will die. But that's because we are giant animals with crazy metabolisms.
No. That's such a cope. Do you hear? These people are such weak, slimy cowards. You see that? Did you see how quickly he moved off of this? He, instead of dealing with the fact that if you remove any essential part in the human body ceases to exist. Right? But yet they all work together. Look at how crazy the system is. They have to hold that this is accidental, and it started from more rudimentary states to more complex states. This is why they love They love the idea of emergent properties, right? Because then they could just sort of fantasize a magical step in between A and B, and they just call it emergentism, where a less complex order of affairs becomes more complex or whatever. Complexity itself would be arbitrary anyway. from that view. But even if you granted them some simple form, look at everything they need to account for just in the human, let alone every other system. But listen to his cope. Listen to this.
The case. I mean, it is true that if you take away a human's heart, the human will die. But that's because we are giant animals with crazy metabolisms.
That doesn't, dude. This is why I get so. I just get so mad.
I just get so mad.
That's because of the thing that it is. Why is it that, like, if you took any of these systems away, you wouldn't have the entire system. If you took a microsystem, the whole system dies. You take a piece of coding, the whole coding dies. Same phenomenon, right? That's because it's a whole system. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know.
There are thousands of other species with no heart, no blood vessels, no blood, and they are doing just fine.
That is, dude, what a dodge. Oh, there's other animals without hearts. If you remove this one thing in this one system, it dies. So you need to justify how it becomes one system without those things, and now it has those things. The jump. It's true of the heart valves, right? Like, multi-chambered heart has to go from single chamber heart to double or quadrant or whatever it is, right? But if it's essential, then you have this weird moment where the thing that's essential had to be not essential. That's the irreducible complexity argument. The thing that's essential from the evolutionary view needs to come from a flux system where it's not essential. That means there has to be a moment where something becomes essential. Now, that's the real question. Instead of, like, all of the work that these guys did is fantastic, but they're still not attacking the opposition. They're giving some problems, but they're not asking the question, is it true that a thing that's essential in any given body right now is the product of a previous time where it was not essential? And they have to say yes. They have to say yes. And then you go, okay, that's an epistemic claim, and it's, from your view, a scientific biological claim. So please, we're all listening. And we don't know yet. We don't know. Ever think about how atheists say they don't believe in talking animals, but yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Sea sponges, for example, they are animals. Some of them are giant animals. Instead of blood, instead of a heart, they have flagellated cells that whip seawater through their spongy tissue.
Is that essential or not essential? He's going to just veer off and describe some other creature that doesn't have a heart to try to prove that the heart's clearly not essential for another creature. Yeah, it's not that creature. That's like saying, like, hey, look, I'm sitting on a chair. Are the legs essential for the chair? And he's like, yeah, but there's the grass. You're sitting on the grass. That doesn't need legs. Yeah, no shit, dummy. Because the grass isn't a chair.
Ocean is...
You bag of flatulence?
...is a sea sponge's blood. Flatworms also survive without a heart and without blood vessels. Inside their bodies, they have a digestive tube that branches all throughout their body.
Unbelievable.
Nutrients dissolved in that tube is able to just diffuse through the body, so all the cells get all the food they need. Oxygen, which their cells need, simply diffuses through their skin, and because they're so thin, that oxygen reaches all of their cells. The problem is, flatworms can't get very large, and they can't evolve a super fast metabolism because diffusion alone has its limitations. One solution to this problem is to have internal fluids that mix and slosh around inside the body. This sloshing...
Is that... I'm sorry, John Perry. Is that essential? Well, in this other thing, it has another essential thing that it needs. And you know what? It's so essential that it had to also come from a time where it wasn't essential because it didn't exist. But we give it this stuff. So the answer to the question to Michael Behe in regards to refuting irreducible complexity is to just go post hoc and tell a story about how something got an essential thing. It just got an essential thing.
Speeds up the process of diffusion. Here we are looking at a water mite. Its
Unbelievable.
organs are bathed in liquid. When those organs move, that speeds up the process of diffusion because it mixes that internal fluid. The evolution of traits like this gives the organism an advantage over its...
I would love to debate this guy on this. He just affirms these claims, and he's got tons of people just eating it up in the chat. Oh, yeah, no, I'm so glad you finally did.
competitors. But
He's never talking to someone who can check him in real time.
once that...
And that's really, if you guys are ever wondering, like, the value of debates, right? You know, because sometimes we all get fatigue for everything. We get fatigue for certain people. We get fatigue for cultures. We get fatigue for everything. But the thing is, the value of debating is, at the very rudimentary level, is the fact that someone making claims has to be hit with another living human being in real time. And this guy doesn't do it. He just sits all lofty with his little princess voice, and nobody can counter him in real time.
advantage exists, something else that can happen is they can now evolve larger body size. Spiders
can?
are close relatives to mites, but most species are far larger. That internal sloshing, which simply gave mites an advantage in life, that is now essential for the spider's survival. In the struggle for existence, that which started out as a mere advantage can then become a necessity. I'm showing you a bike.
No, see? What did I say? He just claims it can be. No, you have a problem here. If something exists, it exists without the thing that's a necessity. If it exists, he's saying that there's a moment in time it has to become a necessity. This is your claim, dude. And none of your cult-like audience is going to ask you the question. Yeah, John Perry, you did say an organism can exist and develop something that then becomes essential. That's a claim, and you also need a process for that. You need to tell us now, if you think that's possible, there has to be a moment, and you have to make it make sense in the biological evolutionary paradigm. There has to be a moment where you can explain how something is not essential and then becomes essential. You won't do that.
Race here because, as many of you know, a couple decades ago, people in that sport started doping. And at first, when people started doping, and there's a bunch of different ways that they were doing this. Sometimes they were using drugs. Sometimes they were like...
Oh, wow. He's going to actually try to use this as an analogy. Would you guys like in the chat like to challenge the analogy before he finishes it? So let me get this straight. Your analogy is bike racers who use drugs, the minority of them who use drugs, they won, right? You just debunked yourself. For them, using the drug to begin with was necessary. It was essential for them to win. He's going to say, now all of the people drug themselves because you even can't compete without, if everyone doesn't drug themselves, you can't compete. So now it's essential. Unbelievably stupid.
Removing their own blood and then re-injecting it into their body before a race. These different methods of doping were being used. That's cheating. And at first, the people who were cheating, they had a slight advantage. But eventually, so many people started cheating in these Grand Tour races that the only way...
Speaking of cheating, we have 4 minutes left for 5 chats. Don't cheat. Don't cheat in the nation of Jortlandia, please.
you could compete was to cheat as well. So, Lance...
Wow. So why is it wrong to cheat, then, as human organisms if we can develop new technologies? Hey, John Perry, you smug little guy. Why is it wrong for one group of people who has in-group preferences to use technology and methodology to, quote, cheat for an advantage?
Lance Armstrong, if you're watching,
Unbelievable.
thank you. You've given me a nice teaching tool here.
No, it's disanalogous. It's not a teaching tool. There's so many things wrong with this as an analogy. The analogy itself categorically is wrong. But beyond the category difference, human beings make choices with intent and direction, John Perry. The fact that Neil Armstrong and whoever else pioneered the doping phenomenon, they had a mind to think about doping toward that advantage. You don't have that. This is why this is disanalogous, you little worm.
This represents what I call the irreducible complexity ratchet. An advantage will evolve, then that advantage will become a necessity because...
Yeah, don't be a worm like this guy, you guys. 3 more.
Of further evolution. You have the evolution of primitive circulation. That was an advantage. Then you have the evolution of larger body size. That makes that advantage a necessity. And then a new advantage can evolve. And then a new necessity can evolve. And so on and so forth.
No.
An irreducible complexity ratchet.
Unbelievable. He actually thought this was a defeater to irreducible complexity. I mean, these people's minds are so broken. They don't think properly. They don't use logic properly. But they don't even believe that logic is done properly because their brain is accidental. Shout out Professor Dave for admitting it. He looks smug in every frame. I know. It's crazy. That was it, guys? Okay, wow. I'm so glad you use a biking example where bikers with minds and thoughts about the future deliberately take action for an advantage, knowing through the scientific method that their type of doping and cheating actually works. It's not accidental.
There's a whole bunch of ways that something that started out as a mere advantage can become essential. If you think back to that turtle that we learned about in video 3, the Fitzroy River turtle gets 70% of its oxygen through its butt. It has what scientists call a
just like you
cloacal gill. The rest of its oxygen comes from its lungs. It breathes air like a normal turtle. But you couldn't imagine, maybe a few million years into the
dude wipes standing up 100%.
Future, the cloacal gill might get so good that this turtle gets all of its oxygen from the water, and its lungs could eventually completely atrophy. At this point, the gill system would fit Michael Behe's definition. This is a single system composed of several well-matched interacting parts, namely the cloaca, the internal bursa.
Every time, it's always the same thing with these guys. There's always a proto. You guys notice the theme? Hopefully you guys fully understand the proto theme where you can predict it every time. Whenever something's in question, whether it's essential or not, it has to have a protoform, and you have to determine if that's essential. But in order to have a protoform, you need something before the protoform that's essential in producing this protoform, whether it's essential or not. So you keep having this endless regress of essential qualities, essential necessities of existence. And they never want to deal with it. They want to stop you mid chronology, right, mid chapter of the book of evolution, and go, can we just grant this chapter with all of the parts and pieces? You guys remember the turtle? Yeah. The turtle, to be a turtle, has some essential things, even if it wasn't the shell. Oh yeah, no, you're right about that. But that would just go back to another essential thing. Yeah, you get the point now. Thank you.
The respiratory polyps, and then you have the muscles that power the entire thing. Several well-matched interacting parts that contribute to the basic function.
Yeah. Protopenis, protoliver, protoheart, protoskin, protobrain, protoshell, proto this, proto that. Everything's a proto.
Removal of any one of the parts causes the system to effectively cease functioning. How did something like this evolve? Well, during its evolution, it was not essential for all of the parts to function at the same time.
Wait, whoa. See what I'm saying? Well, there was a time where everything in the body operated completely independently in a vacuum, and then it finally bridged the gap, and then they all worked together. They went from working independently to working together. How? It just happened. Trust me.
Because during its evolution, the turtle also had lungs, cloacal
Well, no. During the evolution of the turtle also didn't have lungs. You see how every statement is meaningless from their view? During the evolution of the turtle, it had lungs. During the evolution of the turtle, it didn't have lungs. Are both true statements?
Respiration was just an advantage. It started out with simply being able to breathe water through its internal skin. Each edition of architecture just helped it do that.
I know the fact that this guy uses an example where he's literally saying they breathe their own farts.
Job better. But in this hypothetical...
I'm telling you, our great loving God is also the source of anything that's comedy. Like the kind of trolling that's built into this system that God made for the people who deny him, the kind of trolling is some of the best, most beautiful, organized type of trolling that I've ever seen. Had an evolution debate recently where I asked the guy how the random mutations happen, and he said they just happen. Absolutely. That's the biological mechanism. They just happened.
Future, the lungs were removed when the gill was complete. The concept is called evolutionary scaffolding. And this, by the way...
Oh, how convenient. A concept. It's not a mechanism. It's a concept.
Isn't totally hypothetical. It's actually what happened in reverse for the evolution of lungs. Early fish evolved simple lungs from pockets in the upper digestive tract. This would have let them populate oxygen-poor waters.
Sorry, did they exist without that? You see what I'm saying? This is why I interrupt them so many times in a debate. Because they're like, well, hold on. Let me just go back to chapter 3 where I grant the thing in question, but a different version before it becomes another version. I'm like, no. There were a number of fish that lived underwater. Did they need oxygen or not? Did they develop the necessity to need oxygen, that oxygen was essential? Did that come from a needing oxygen essential system? Yeah. It's infuriating. That's why I want to just debate them. I'm tired of doing reviews of them.
Many fish still have gills and lungs today, and that's what they use their lungs for. Once lungs evolved, fish could...
Once lungs evolved. It's just unbelievable. And then once they evolved, once the thing in question, you're the person who's countering me goes, how do they evolve? Oh, once they evolved.
Move on to land, and most land animals eventually lost their gills.
Oh, look at that fish.
Evolutionary scaffolding.
Oh, there we go. I just told a story. I just literally told a children's story that I tell my kid a story every night. It's part of the protocol. MadeByJimbob takes the ladies. I take Lil Bob. I tell them a story from scratch. I kid you not. The stories I sometimes tell them, because I'm improvising, maybe I'm just stealing them. Once they evolved, and once the fish crawled out of water and became a Komodo dragon, voila, scaffolding.
The first problem with claiming that irreducible complexity debunks evolution
Story time.
is that the argument assumes that what is essential in a system today was always essential.
No. It's the opposite, you weasel. It's the opposite. The argument is if there's something essential today, the argument is if evolution is true, it wasn't always essential. That's the argument, you sneak. From your view, that's the internal critique on your view is it can't be always essential. It had to come from something that's not. The counter argument is that it's always essential. The counter argument from a creation view is that the bodies we see and the way things operate, there's going to be some necessary essential start point. You can't just keep going into non-essential view and then gradualism gives you essential. No, because then something's essential for you to have something called gradualism towards something essential. You're always going to have something essential. Why? Because if there's a system, in this case the heart, that wasn't always essential, something the system that built the heart needed to be essential then. Whatever was before the heart that gave some proto-organism the ability to live, they had some new essential thing.
And this is obviously false. We can tell that it's false by just simply looking around at different organisms.
We look around.
Based on the bones, as you can see by the bones.
Unbelievable, man. He doesn't get it. He does not get it. We just look around at another thing that's not this thing, and we go, look, that thing doesn't have this other thing. So therefore, this is their reasoning in their head. This is how they reason. Is the human heart essential for the human's existence? Yes, but it wasn't always. Why not? Because if we look at this other non-human jellyfish, it doesn't have a heart. Wait, I'm a jellyfish now? Yeah.
But there's a second flaw with Michael Behe's argument. Look again at this definition. An irreducibly complex system cannot be produced directly, that is, by continuously improving the initial function, which continues to work by the same mechanism, by slight successive modifications of a precursor system, because any precursor to an irreducibly complex system that is missing a part is, by definition, non-functional. Here he makes it very clear that his argument depends on a second assumption, and that assumption is that over evolutionary time, a trait cannot change its function, or it doesn't often.
No, that's actually not. No, dude, this guy is such an insufferable weasel. That's not. No. He's saying whatever is the precursor has to have some sort of function. And the question is it an essential function? The question isn't whether or not an existing function can sort of improvise and do dual tasks from either of our views. That's not the question. The question is whether or not the initial function of the thing itself could be done away with and the organism be fine. This guy sucks.
And change its function.
This guy sucks so bad.
Well, we learned back in video 3 that over evolutionary time, co-options, also called exaptations, are extremely common in biology.
Okay, co-opting things, right? Is that essential? Is it essential? Is whatever the system is that informs co-opting as some sort of reaction to the environment, is that essential? You're not answering any of the questions, dude. You're just like, this happens in nature, and that happens in nature. He's like purposefully, like just being obtuse. Like he doesn't want to deal with the actual contention. Why don't you just have Behe on? Is he still alive? That would probably be a good reason why he doesn't have him on. But if he is, how about you invite him on so he can push back? No? Okay.
You have co-option on top of co-option on top of co-option in many
still a lizard, still a lizard, still a lizard.
cases. Organisms are constantly stumbling upon new uses for old traits. A few weeks ago, we saw that even if you take away all the parts of the flagellum that make it spin, it still does function, not as a rotary motor, but living species of bacteria today actually use non-spinning flagella for adhesion.
See what I'm saying? They always do this. They always do this. This is what happened in my little conversation with Dum Dum Dave, which was like, we're talking about the chronological building of what we're talking about, which was the penis. Any penis. Not just the human penis. Any penis. And they go, well, there's a proto-penis. And I go, okay, well, what we're talking about is the building of this thing. Is the thing's function that's then built, if that thing is necessary, is it necessary for its existence? That thing. That's the problem with evolution. The thing that's blindly built that serves a very distinct purpose for dependency. He just goes, well, no, there's this other similar version of it that exists. We're not talking, now that's essential though. So he just did it again. There's a bacteria that has a motor where it does a thing. And he's like, look, there's a bacteria that doesn't have a motor, it does a thing. Congratulations, you distinguish two types of things. The question is, does the type of bacteria that has a motor, does it require that? Is that essential? And not only is it the motor essential, but are there parts of the motor, which is really the question. The parts of the motor, are they essential for the motor to even exist in any meaningful way? The other question is whether or not other bacteria could exist without a motor. Those are two different questions.
To assume the flagellum initially evolved for swimming is to assume that the mammal tongue initially evolved for quoting Shakespeare.
Nope, this guy, man. I can't even get through this. I honestly can't. This guy is such a liar. Look at him lie. Look at that face. That is the face of someone lying. No. The quoting Shakespeare is not a biological function. If you wanted to do a more proper analogy, we talk about the tongue and what the function of the tongue is. By the way, in conjunction with the olfactory for humans, smell and taste, and then interpretation of smell and taste. You have two accidental things, one a nose, one a tongue, that bring in sense data that's meaningful to the organism in regards to how it interacts with food and other things. Is that accidental and essential or non-essential? Still accidental, no matter what from your view. He's like, oh no, quoting Shakespeare. No, we're not talking about quoting Shakespeare, you pig snake. We're talking about biologically necessary things for existing. The fact that our mouths, from an evolutionary view, the fact that our mouths can make meaningful sounds, from your view, is incidental. The fact that it does something biologically, just without the sounds, pulls in molecules on a spectrum from sweet and sour and bitter or whatever, and actually not only does that, but it transfers it meaningfully to the brain. That's a multiple system right there. And he's like, oh, Shakespeare.
Okay, but still, how do you go from an adhesion fiber to a rotating motor?
I can't even do it. He's going to say it just happened.
The evidence strongly suggests that this transition evolved through recruitment.
Unbelievable. Yeah. How did we get the jump, right? From a snake without venom pouches to venom pouches and specific injection needles right at its fang location.
So, on to the main topic of today's video, evolution by recruitment.
Okay.
Again, this is a very special type of co-option, a very special type of exaptation. Recruitment is when existing traits combine to form a new system, or a trait is drafted into a larger
You forgot the word accidentally, John Perry.
existing system. And the craziest example of evolution by recruitment that we can see in the wild, I would say, is the venom delivery system in vipers, such as rattlesnakes and elapids.
I cannot wait for this.
So snakes
This is my favorite. This is my favorite example.
like cobras and so on. Their fangs function as hypodermic needles. Their
Okay, so they once didn't then, right?
fangs are hollow. Venom goes from
By the way, you keep going back. Fangs also didn't just... Okay. Their fangs operate like hypodermic needles. For what? The venom they didn't have? Or did they have venom and accidentally produce hypodermic needles? Chicken or the egg? Everywhere you look.
from a gland into a tube,
Thank you.
into the
Thank
tooth,
you.
the hollow tooth, and is injected at high pressure into a victim's body. In some cobras, this system is so efficient that they can actually spit venom, and it sprays through their needle-like teeth. If a cobra ever does this to you, shield your eyes, because they will aim towards your eyes, and if that stuff gets in your eyes, it burns like crazy. It can even cause eyes to scar and cause permanent vision damage. This is a really cool defense mechanism.
Accidentally. The acid or the protein structure for the spitting cobra accidentally developed along with their accidental development of shooting at people's eyes, with the accidental effect that it actually burns their eyes. Is he saying that the organisms all had the right materials in the genetic code for Evo is eliminating useless parts? But isn't Evo a theory toward moving betterment, not eliminating? Well, they can't decide, Jeremy. They say both. It's just there's no direction. They would just say the accidental movement toward an advantageous set of skills, accidental skills, would just reward the unknowing organism that doesn't really know what it's doing. It's just accidentally doing this. The snake evolved accidentally to hit and aim for the eyes. Like, it could have been the case that they accidentally established venom that specifically helped the eyes. And so but it burned, whatever. Like, it's like, oh, why the eyes? Well, it's just an accident. Where were all the venomous, the same snakes that developed a bunch of venom that they spit, but it did nothing? No, all the ones we see developed really burning mechanisms, right? Liquid mechanisms. They would say, well, no, the cobra a type of cobra probably did exist, and it just had B12 liquid, but it died off because of that. We're like, no, that doesn't make sense either.
Mechanism. According to Michael Behe's definition, the venom delivery system is an irreducibly complex system. You need a venom sac, you need venom, you need hollow fangs, and you need a venom duct that empties directly into the hollow part of those.
I can't watch what he's going to explain. Now let me look. I'll predict it for you guys. He's going to give himself a proto-system that accidentally builds and connects these parts.
Fangs. If you take away any one of these well-matched, complex parts, the entire system breaks down. It will no longer function as a hypodermic needle. So, how did this evolve? According to Michael Behe, it should be impossible. In video 3, we learned about the evolution of Gila monster venom.
Unbelievable. You just move on to something else, right? We were talking about a snake, we're talking about a viper, and now we're going to go to the Gila monster who has bacterial saliva that if you get bitten by this thing without the fangs, it'll inject that bacteria into your wound, and it could kill you. Right, okay. And by the way, there's this other thing.
Their venom gland is a modified salivary gland.
What do you mean modified?
Gila monsters chew their venomous spit into their victims' bodies when they attack. Chewing venom into your victim's body is very slow compared to the high-pressure injection found in some snakes.
You guys see that this is their pattern. You isolate something, and an animal like a snake has a universality to its category, a snake, and you look at the particular snakes that have venom, and you can look at the particular snakes that don't have venom. You should only be looking at snakes right now. He goes, oh, that's interesting. Let's look at some other thing that has its own peculiar type of Salisbury steak gland that hurts you.
But it does work, and it's a lot easier than having to kill an animal by ripping it apart with your teeth, the way that other animals have to hunt their prey. Biologists made two really amazing discoveries about venomous snakes. First of all, they discovered that the venom gland actually is a modified saliva gland, just like it is in Gila monsters. There's a bunch of non-venomous snakes that have the same structure, but in them, the gland is far smaller, and it mostly makes saliva. The venom...
Okay, cool. Other snake doesn't have it. This snake has it, and... I'm sorry, you keep skipping chapters, sir. They always told us that things like philosophy were silly when I was a kid, and just do the science. Listening to evo-tards like this makes it abundantly clear to me that the messaging was intentional. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because it really is, they are really doing philosophy. They're piecing particulars together and imagining processes that they don't observe.
Gland is a modified saliva gland. The other really neat discovery they made is that there are venomous snakes that do not have truly hollow needle-like fangs. Instead, just like the Gila monster, they have to chew their venomous saliva into their victims' bodies, Mangrove snakes are one such example, but even though their teeth are not hollow, their teeth do have a groove in them, and that groove was recently shown to increase the speed at which venom can be chewed into a bite. That groove helps venom get into a wound.
That's great. And you didn't answer the question.
The same thing is going on in brown tree snakes and many other species. And here's the really crazy part. It turns out that if you look at the fangs of a viper or a cobra, you see that their teeth, their teeth.
Bryce Crawford went to FurryCon? That's actually, he's a genius. I like him now.
Needle-like teeth, they too are grooved, but the groove presses in so deep that the tooth loops around, folding back together with itself to form a solid, watertight needle. The origin of the hypodermic fang came about through the recruitment of the venom duct closer and closer to a grooved fang.
Dude! Every time with the proto, man. How do you develop the pouch? Well, they can't. How did they get this? Well, they had it. How did they get it? They had it. So let me get this. Michael B, he goes, look at the complexity of this. There's two pouches. There's a highway for the venom, and then there's a way to attach the in-between highway to the tooth itself. He goes, yeah, other snakes have something similar. Okay. So, did they have venomous, they accidentally produced venomous liquid and they didn't have teeth first? Or did they have teeth without that? Did they accidentally develop a pouch for no reason and somehow fill it? They just synthesized some sort of thing that accidentally helped them digest and maybe disable their prey? Yeah, they just had it. That's the answer. It happened. He should make you irrationally angry, this guy. Seriously.
I just get so mad.
I'm getting pissed off too.
I just get so
Until
mad.
eventually.
So you guys are never gonna see another answer to this. So it's just gonna loop. Every time we watch one of these, you only have to watch a couple minutes. Every time the proto comes up, every single time. How does this evolve from not it? Well, it is there, which is funny because that's Behe's argument, is that it's always essentially there. For you to make sense of it, you have to go back to a previous page in the novel and say, look, it's there. Yeah, how is it there? You freak. Now, if Bryce Crawford is actually interviewing furries, that's both covering evolution and theology. So that's good. Plus, preaching the gospel at FurryCon. God bless him. God bless them. I'm going to start doing my hair like these kids.
By the title of the video, you know we're preaching the gospel here, because something that's been on my heart lately is the war that Satan is waging against the identity of human beings. Because the reality is, God did not design human beings to act like animals. He designed human beings to walk out the gender identity that he made, which was male and female. And so today, we are clinging to the scripture where Jesus says, be as wise as a serpent, but as innocent as a dove. That's why I'm rocking the FurryCon t-shirt, because we're going to be in the environment, but not of the environment, and bring the truth of the gospel that sets people free. So if you're seeing this right now, please pray for us. Pray for the spiritual warfare that we're undergoing.
Yeah.
Pray for the ministry. And let's go in here and preach the gospel to some furries, bro. How long have you been a part of the furry community?
I've been a part of the fandom since 2019.
2019.
Yeah, about 2019.
Okay, wow. So that's 6 years.
Yep.
And you said you identify as a werewolf?
I identify as a werewolf, yeah.
And what drew you to the furry community?
I started researching furry art online.
Uh-huh.
I would have asked, I identify as a werewolf hunter, and just left a really long silence.
And I realized that I really liked the community and the people. And I wanted to go out and travel and furry.
Do you believe in any sort of higher power, or are you kind of like not about that?
In my personal opinion, I do feel that there's some kind of higher power. I sense it. I'm sensitive to it. And I've had moments in my life where I've questioned my religion. I don't know how to explain it. I just know that there's some type of higher power.
Yeah.
And
Bryce is like, I identify as a true Christian.
I choose to be a good person.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, can I share a little bit of my story?
Bryce is like, how is that tail connected to you?
With you. So I'm actually from the South. I grew up in a predominantly Christian household, went to church, but I kind of didn't really like religion. I went to a Christian school. My Christian school was great, got a great education, but just didn't really care about anything like that. And I struggled with anxiety and depression for years, crippling anxiety and depression from the 8th grade on for a few years. And then when I was 17, I was actually planning on taking my life. And the night that I was going to take my life, I had a supernatural encounter with Jesus where Jesus revealed his love to me and stopped me from taking my life. And so I realized that I had this God-sized hole in my heart that was aching for love. That's what people look for in everything. They try to find their identity in a bunch of different things because they're looking for that love. And Jesus met me with that love. And so I prayed a prayer. I said, God, if you're real, take away my anxiety and depression, because that's why I wanted to take my life. And I haven't had it since that day.
Okay.
And so that was like my foot in the door with, you know, I always thought there was something greater out there. But like, what is?
You know, not to diminish any experience that God could work through Waffle House and such like that. But the thing is, like, this guy could say, well, that's interesting. I was super depressed and alone, you know, and isolated and ostracized, and I found furries, and I've never thought about it since. You know? Now I'm at home. I found home. This is why feelings and, like, the sense of, like, being overcome with emotion and a temporary state of wholeness is not something you lead with. You'll notice if you're Orthodox, you may have had some really overwhelming, full sense experiences, right? And at the same time, if you were to talk to your priest about them, for the most part, they won't diminish that, but they won't lead you into that world. They won't go, yeah, we should pursue more of that. Yeah, that. Or dreams, things like this, like epic dreams that are impactful. You'll notice in Orthodoxy, there's not a leaning on to those things. You don't lean into those things. It doesn't diminish what they could be. It's just that you don't, that's not the thing. That's not the practice. That's not the interpretive dance analysis. And this is why it falls apart with people like Bryce. You can't use this testimonial application, which is rampant in America. This is how I grew up too. This meaningful delivery of a testimony that's feelings-based, that has some skin in the game. I was going to end it, then I didn't, and I was changed, and here we are, right? It's going to attract, I'm not saying it won't even be effective, but it's going to be effective in pulling in other people who lean into those emotional distinctions. And that's what you'll get. You'll get young girls, young men that lean into the emotionalism of Bryce's brand.
That's it. You know, you said you're sensitive to it, I'm sensitive to it. I believe that every human being, like their inner soul is crying out to worship something. And I started worshiping Jesus and following Jesus. And that was the gospel.
I've noticed Evos seem to assign causation to any opportunistic correlation they see. Stats 101. Yeah, that's definitely something. Well, I mean, just causation alone is a problem under their view, which is like there's a system that exists and it operates a certain way, and the way is so regular that it produces more complexity. That alone is something, even causation without any correlation, just causality, the evolution inside of biology, the evolution proponent can't really give an account for.
Because I knew how wicked I was, and I was carrying so much baggage and shame and guilt from the things that I had done. But Jesus died paying that price that I deserved to pay with my life. And because he defeated sin and death, you know, no one can escape death. No one can escape sin.
Werewolf could, if he plays it right.
This lifetime, but because he defeated it, I can be in relationship with him for an eternity in glory and set free and find out how he has designed me to be. I realized I was designed to love God, and that was such a freeing thing, you know?
Yeah.
If God could do a miracle in your life right now, what would that be?
A miracle?
I would actually become a real werewolf. You know? The moon would come out, and I would go through some metamorphosis that was clearly painful, given the movies that I've seen. And I would be a werewolf, and I would hunt other human beings in the moonlight, naked.
Miracle, to be honest, it would be to help my father move on to the next stage because he's currently dying and is on dialysis.
Oh, man, you really missed an opportunity there. You know what I would have said? You guys know what I would have asked, right? See a werewolf too?
But, you know, this is from his alcoholism.
Yeah.
And I just hope that he helps my father in some way to end his suffering.
Yeah.
That's all I want out of this.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing him suffer.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
Yeah.
There's a girl in Spain who's suffering. You saw that? I think they went through with it. It's horrifying, but they never really look at the root cause. This girl, I think it was teenager, late teenager. She was sent to some, rehabilitation center where it was highly populated with, what a surprise, aggressive migrants from third world countries, and they grape cerealed her. And she tried to throw herself off a building and failed and paralyzed herself. And now she's seeking, under the state of the government of Spain, euthanasia.
World, even more than money.
Yeah.
Anything.
And do you need a miracle in anything in your life specifically as well?
A miracle in my life?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in control of my life. Everything that I do is based on my actions that I've done. And I feel
everything that I've done in my life is based on the things that I've done.
I feel like a miracle would be better spent on someone who he genuinely needs it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing very well for myself. Yeah. And I don't know, if I were to get a miracle, it would be some way to just bring my
Bryce is waiting for the next part of the script.
friends together.
He's rotating his ring because he's like, I know what I'm going to say next. Thank you so much, Todd White.
Yeah.
And help them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would it be okay if I prayed for you really quick and just prayed for your father and prayed for you as well? Because I know you're on this journey. Like what you said to me, I think is so beautiful. You're saying, I'm sensitive. I believe that there's something greater out there. And I really believe that Jesus Christ is the truth. I'm going to pray for you and
clowns offer God's love through the joy.
Pray for your father as well. Is that okay?
Yes.
Can I put a hand on your shoulder?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I put a hand on your werewolf shoulder?
Jesus, thank you so much for Ono, God. Thank you that you love him and see him, God. Right now, we just lift up his father in Jesus' name. Would you just bring your love into his father's life, God? Would you encounter him in dreams and visions? Would you encounter Ono in dreams and visions, God? Would you meet them with your love that brings conviction and change in their life?
Oh, imagine if he howled right after. That would be so crazy. Oh my gosh. It would just be so wrong. It would be extra wrong. Paw Patrol. Just let out a huge howl.
God, we thank you for the word of God. Would you bless Ono? Bring conviction in their lives. God,
Ono?
we love you and thank you in Jesus' name.
Can you bless Ono? Dude, I thought you were going to call them out for their inversion. You just affirmed his werewolfness.
Amen. Thank you so much. Can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
I always wanted to hug a werewolf.
And one more thing I wanted to tell you. I know you say you identify as a werewolf.
Oh, here we go. All right. Here we go.
Yep.
Man and woman that were designed by God have a value that not even the animals carry, and that's that they're made in the image of God. And the way that God designed you as a man who bears his image, and that means that you have this special, significant value that not even an animal carries.
You know what's evident of that? You have the capacity to attempt to invert what you are. Isn't that interesting? That even from the Christian view, being made in the image of God with all of its capacities has the capability with our will to try to invert, pervert, subvert, counterfeit things. So it's almost like a testament. The rejection of a universal affirms the universal. The trying to reject it affirms it.
Carries, and I want to encourage you with that. The value that God puts on your life is his own life because he was willing.
Identified as Van Helsing. You know what? There's a video game that I almost got. It was like it's a vampire game where the beginning you spawn as a very weak vampire. and you have to like build up your vampiric attributes. It's called like V Rising or something. Anyone play it?
To die for you, and you bear the image of God, not because you're a werewolf, but because you're a human being made in his image. That gives me so much encouragement, and I wanted to encourage you with that as well. And how long have you been a part of the furry community?
Oh my gosh.
That's about 2009.
Okay.
2009 is when I started.
Wow. So that's like 15, 16 years?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm not thinking about it too much, but yeah.
And what
I don't want to think about it too much.
draws you
Dude, this guy's
to
methed
the
out.
furry community?
I think
This guy did dragon ketamine.
it's just the ability to engage in your imagination and like kind of run
Hey, look, at least you admitted it.
with it a little bit. And you don't have to, like, I didn't have a fursuit for about 10 years, like, into the fandom. I got this guy, like, last year, actually.
Okay.
So this will be my 1 year mark, but, like, there's no minimum requirement to be part of the fandom.
Yeah.
And, like, there's a bunch of friendly people who want to hang out, party, go to panels. Like, there's
Panels?
That's why I like the fandom so much. And there's, like,
Dude, a furry panel?
a broad variety of people in it.
For sure. Do you believe in a higher power, or do you...
I personally don't. Some of my family does, but they're like everybody has their own set of beliefs. As long as you're not pushing it on people and trying to condemn others for not, like, do what you do, because religion also brings a good sense of community as well, and like a sense of purpose. If you use that to drive yourself with your religion, I believe that's a wonderful thing.
And what do you believe in anything or no?
No, not now. Like,
Asking this guy if he believes in anything is hilarious. He's like, I believe I'm a dragon named Charcoal.
I'd say I'm a deist, to where like if something exists out there, like
you're like open to it.
Yeah. But like for right now, it's very much a like I'm solidly. I don't think there's anything out there for right now.
That's great. Can I share a little bit of my story?
Can I hug a dragon? Can I hug a dragon?
With you?
Sure.
That'd be great. So I actually grew up in the South. I'm not from LA. What do you think happens when we die? Like, because you say you don't believe anything, like, what do you think happens when we die?
I think it's just mostly lights out. Like, it's one of the lovely things about being a human is you got to put the time that you have to work right now. Make as much good as you can in the world. Be good to people. Spread community. Don't be mean if you don't have to. Like some.
It's funny. That's like, there's nothing. Look, I hate to say it. No, I take that back. I'm here to say it. There's nothing the dragon's saying. There's nothing that Bryce has that the dragon can't agree that he has too. Now, Bryce, he could say the word Jesus, but there's nothing really being withheld. If you notice what the guy's saying, he's basically describing Bryce. So it's like, this is the thing, if there's no true church and there's no rigor to it, and it's all just sharing your experience and being like, I had an experience, maybe you'll have an experience, then you don't have anything more to offer these people, which is why in Orthodoxy, you could never really, it would never make sense, this setting, to share Orthodoxy. This is Bryce. How do I put this? Bryce's paradigm of what's going on is the same as this guy's anyway. They're in the same paradigm.
As much good as you can in the world. Be good to people. Spread community.
What did you come back to? Well, we figured out that evolution is real. I just went back on everything. It's real. Pro tip, instead of putting money into furry suit, put it in a prayer corner instead. Yeah, exactly.
Don't be mean if you don't have to. Like, sometimes you do have to lay out the truth with folks and be like, hey, this is how you deal with me, or this is how you need to be dealing with other people. But don't make other people's days miserable, and try to uplift people when you can.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, let me share a little bit of my story with you. So I grew up in the South, grew up in a predominantly Christian environment, church, went to a Christian school, but didn't really like care about it. I was kind of bitter because a lot of people that were the example for Christianity.
This is the thing. These people see, even the dragon sees through the pitch, bro. Those tattoos are just awful, too, by the way. Awful. But anyway, they see through the pitch. The dragon sees through the pitch. You sound like you're pitching something. You sound like you're pitching a product. You're a ShamWow guy. This is why you couldn't do this from an Orthodox perspective. You couldn't sell something that's the fullness through pieced together little like soundbite bits. That's why in the end, no matter what I say, no matter what anyone who has an Orthodox channel says, no matter what Jay says, no matter what Andrew says, there's nothing they're going to say or I'm going to say that's going to come close to matching you going to divine liturgy. You could never reproduce a Bryce for Orthodoxy. It's doesn't match. It's like a totally different category. You can't do it. He's preaching to costumes. He's preaching to the costumes.
Christianity, we're a good example.
Yeah, he's in a costume too. I mean, don't get me don't get it wrong, guys. He has a costume too.
Right. And so I was like, well, if that's what God's like, I don't want anything to do with it. When I
It
got
is
to
like
the 8th
Mike
grade, I
Lindell.
got really bad depression and anxiety for years. And when I was 17, I was actually planning on taking my life.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
And that night,
Okay, yeah, totally had that. I'm a dragon. I got dragon depression.
and I went to go have my last meal at
That's
a
right.
Waffle House. You ever been to Waffle House?
I have not been to Waffle House yet.
Look, you live on the East Coast. You got to go.
I plan on going during a storm to make it the best.
Dude, Waffle House sucks. Big Daddy, thank you so much. Hey, what's going on? For the record, when I witness or talk to degenerates about salvation, I don't do it like a feminine little independent contemporary modern church like this guy. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's like, what do you drive people to, Dane? It's like, in the end, when they go, cool, where do I do? What do I go? And you go, well, I go to this church over here. It's like, let's just say everything you said worked for someone, and they're like, okay, cool, where do I go this Sunday? You're like, well, I mean, is there a right answer to that? Where do I go this Sunday? Look, they say this. The dragon says, Bryce, you know what? I really liked your waffle story. I loved it. You know what I'm going to do? I want to go to the true church. Bryce, where is it? I want to go this weekend. What's the true church? Look, Bryce, I want the true church. I want the church that historically can be traced all the way back to Christ and his teaching and his commission and the way in which the church was set up and all of the defense against heresies. I want that church. Where do I go this weekend? Well, you been to Waffle House? Have you been to Waffle House? You know what he'd say? He'd say, well, I mean, I tour. Bryce would say, well, I tour. So it's like wherever I am, I'm bringing like the gospel with me. But I mean, that's up to you. You go wherever you want, right? Just as long as it's the gospel. And the dragon's like, can I watch? I saw this Chinese guy named Johnny Chang. Could I go to his church, but just be in the YouTube section? Can I do that? Yeah. No, he's great. You can do that too. What? It's like, that's the thing. If you don't have a clear answer when you're, quote, witnessing to people, what are you witnessing other than just you? Just you.
Best experience.
It is the best. Waffle House is the best. And so I went there to kind of have my last meal, and I had a supernatural encounter with Jesus. And I've never done drugs. I've never drank alcohol before, so I knew I wasn't having a high or a trip or something.
They're taking guests. Well, you guys could have at it. You guys could have at it. I'm glad that he's even doing that, Metaphysics Mike. Because you'd think some of these guys would just kind of be like, well, no, I'm not going to do that again. But he won't debate me. That's one thing. He said no. But that's good to know. Anybody who wants to do that, we could actually, is that live right now? Let's see how people do. They're probably just half of them are going to be just like, glazing him, I bet.
Where I was kind of hoping that like more people would do that, to the point where he's like, well, half of these people are jerks just sending these videos to Dave, so I shouldn't do that.
I identify as the guy who plumbed up Jimbob about rights, as he pimped me out like his crack addicted
Thank
little
you.
whore.
That's right.
He was like,
that's right,
hey,
Dane.
redneck better give me my money.
That's right, Dane.
Gosh. Yeah.
Next super chat is Ichi Goat. Thank
Did
you
anyone
so
call
much.
in?
Or Itchy Goat, thank you so much for the super chat.
Who's that guy?
Yeah. So
And he became a huge Christian. And at the end, he was kind of wearing one of these shaggy beards.
Interesting. No, I don't know him. I would go more ZZ Top.
Oh, you would have a lot of fun with this dude. You would have a whole lot of fun with this guy. Let me say this. I'm a fan of both of you guys. I watch every video. Well, Dave, you could be wrong sometimes.
What did I say? What did I say? They're mostly going to be glazers.
But I love them in no way. Creation stories written by men 4,000 years ago have something like this.
That I have no like we're all trying to answer why does anything exist as opposed to nothing existing, and I'm kind of stopping at the universe. I'm saying the universe exists without cause. I can't explain further than that. Whereas a deist will create another layer and say there's a deity that exists.
Well, no, the universe, you goblin, would include laws that aren't identical to matter. Well, this is probably why this guy doesn't debate in a controlled environment with an actual moderator, because he just got away with something that this guy's not going to challenge him on. Yeah, the universe exists. Sorry, is the universe a set of unrelated particulars, or is it one thing? I don't know. Okay, does the universe include any immateriality? Oh, I don't know. I have no evidence for anything immaterial existing. Okay, cool. Do the laws of logic exist? Does truth exist? Does information exist? Does knowledge exist? Yeah, of course. Okay, are they found in the universe? I see what you're doing. You're pre-supping. That's what they would do. You're pre-supping me.
Exists that created the universe, and then
one of Kant's antinomies.
I'm not necessarily
whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Really dramatic.
Well, hard. I mean,
dude, where's the callers?
Just come on, man. Like, why do schools teach things? Is your question? What do you want me to do with that? I don't know.
Okay, coming back. Oh, looks
low
like
tier.
No way. We got a James Tour in the back.
Are you serious?
I'm totally joking.
Dave just got real scared.
I wish. Holy shit! Would I be like, yeah? He wouldn't even.
Ordered it.
Content helped me turn my uncle from Flurf to Globe model, and helps me debunk anti-vaccine narratives and be able to debunk creationists.
Wow, you guys are really doing stuff.
That's the trifecta right there.
Oh yeah, that'll get us to where we need to go. Get us all jabbed up and believing that we're monkeys. There we go.
Flat Earth, anti-vax, and creationist. Those are probably my three most covered topics that I've debunked. Probably, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the most viewed of came up out of no getting married. I am lucky though. My partner, like most people get married young for dumb reasons or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I am very lucky. And Ryan was 16. I was 17, turning 18 when we got married.
Wow. Okay. You look younger than me. You're like what, 37 or 38 or something?
37. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my oldest is 19. My middle 16, and then my youngest is 12, turned 13. So in August. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were gonna be like, oh, they got sick because they're like 1 and 3 and like little.
Why did not call in? Well, I already called this guy in. I challenged him to a one-on-one debate, and I'm not debating even in this sense during Lent.
Kids get sick all the time. You have an adult child.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's always bad
for a few minutes.
Bottom of the barrel. I was struck. Oh.
I'm surprised they don't get more counters, though. I'm surprised they don't get more people countering him. Anywho, here we go. 9 minutes, y'all. It's 2 o'clock. I don't know. I've got basically 2 streams up already for today up. So I'm not sure if there's anything else to review. I didn't see anything else. I posted a new comic, though, today on YouTube, if you guys want to check it out.
I get it what you mean insofar as your position that orthodoxy is the only true church, but what I am saying is that there are people like me down here in Protestantism, few of us who preach, teach, and evangelize from a masculine perspective and not from this feel-good Jesus is my Prince Charming kind of perspective.
I understand. It's, I'll grant you that it's further away from the feminized thing. But, Dane, I gotta say it. You don't have the authority to teach. I love you, but you don't have the authority to teach. In fact, the most loving thing I could tell you is you don't have the authority to teach, and that the most masculine take you can approach you can take is actually coincidentally a submissive role. Isn't that interesting? That when it comes to Christianity and Christ and participating in Christianity, the most authentic masculine thing you can do is submit. In fact, if you're teaching, you're ultimately teaching others to submit. So how are they supposed to learn from you if teaching, just the structure of teaching, father to the son, teacher to the student, how can you teach Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off unless you have that hierarchical structure? And how could you have the hierarchical structure without someone submitting to an authority or a teaching? So if you're saying, well, I'm going to teach, you're asking the people listening to you to submit to you, right? Well, they go, who do you submit to then? Isn't that fair? If I ask my wife to submit to me from a Christian lens and she says, I mean, I understand why, but who are you submitting to? And I go, no one, myself. How does my wife learn submission to me if she doesn't see my submission to something higher? How? How could you expect anyone to learn what you're, quote, teaching if they simply ask you, well, who's teaching you? No, really, I want to sign up for your classes. Who taught you? I want to know it's real. Oh, you say you're a Japanese swordsmith? Who taught you? Well, it's autodidactic. I just kind of went into YouTube. Well, no, I want the legit Japanese swordsmithing. I want the real stuff, bro. Well, I mean, it is real. It's me. I did it on my own with YouTube. I swear. Don't worry. I got it. I got this. No. You want me to submit to you as a teacher, but you didn't submit to anyone as a teacher? Why would I do that? No. How about no? How about I'm not going to do that? Wouldn't the person teaching me? Yeah, they'd be subject to the same thing, which is why in Orthodoxy, the teacher holds an office position. And the office position is an extension, a succession of Christ's original teaching and church. There's that or, look, it's a true dichotomy. You either have that or it doesn't exist. It's either that or none of it exists. How is a religion of Slavic people called Orthodoxy compatible with Americans? What? Practice is compatible with human beings. The practice of Orthodoxy has to do with the image bearer status of human beings, not about the cultural status, temporal nation status of a people's. What happens is, the question is any given culture itself compatible with Orthodoxy, not as Orthodoxy compatible with a given culture. It's the culture you're going to examine. That's why in Orthodoxy, no matter where you are, if you put up a parish, there's you essentially baptize the parts of the culture that could be adopted in. Similar how we took the tree as a troll. Right? St. Boniface took the tree as a troll. And the same way we consecrate buildings, we can take what exists, the parts that aren't incongruent or rebellious of the teachings and practice of the church, and we can pull it in like language. Language is a perfect example. You don't change your language, right? You don't go like, well, we're going Slavonic or Greek, no matter where we are. That's not adaptive. Hit the goal. Thank you so much. 3 minutes. 6 and 3. That's aggressive. It's aggressive. Yeah, I was confused about that. Slavic. Loose Tires is clearly a progressive Protestant who doesn't understand that the gospel speaks to the culture doesn't speak. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you have to. You're basically like. The church doesn't change and try to fit in and go, well, we'll make it work. We'll just. Oh, you don't like that part? We'll just. Okay, cool. No Eucharist. You guys are clearly in a culture where you're weirded out by this thing, so we're not going to do it. Thank you so much. Gola, gola, gola. 3 more, y'all. Looks like they're not getting many call-ins right now. You know why? Because they know this works. They know this system works where you have, okay, well, let's do a call-in. I'm the target. Dum Dum Dave is the target. But the problem is, like, this is still such a weak approach because why don't you just debate with a moderator?
To abiogenesis, which they think is where DNA came from, which it didn't. Right?
Thank you, Metal Stalfos.
Clearly RNA based, and then DNA came after. And
wait, what did you do? Wait, where? I want to see it. Where? You were probably pretty nice though. They drop you? Oh, there you are. All right, nice, dude. All right, let's go. Let's see how metaphysics.
If I keep giving you all of my money, Cooley is going to put out a hit on you, and I need to go finish working on my trailer.
Okay.
I get what you're saying, but the belief that no one can teach anything about God unless he's under the authority of orthodoxy is a genetic fallacy and an argument from age. I'm submitted to the gospel, the spirit, God, the truth,
Dane.
my elders,
Dane,
and so forth.
Stop it. Dane, you can't deny history. A genetic fallacy is to say something's wrong because of its source or where it's being spoken from. That's not what orthodoxy is arguing. I'm arguing that both people who call themselves Christians are definitionally appealing to a story of Christ, the Bible. They're appealing to history. So no, it's not a genetic fallacy. A genetic fallacy is to say something's wrong, that a position is wrong, simply because of its source or where it came from. No, it's the opposite, is that we're both arguing a historicity. You wouldn't even know who Jesus Christ is. You wouldn't even know the term speak the gospel to people without church history. You wouldn't know it. So why are you trusting a church? Who are you trusting, Dane? Who are you trusting? You found a Bible, it's compelling, it moves you, it calls you into action. Your intuition says this is true. Great. I'm not taking any of that away from you. But I'm going to ask you, where'd you get any of this? When Christ established a church and he said, this is the church, and when biblically it says the church is the pillar of truth, where? The Orthodox could say where and track it back. And all of its teachings and doctrines maintain and they're consistent. If you think heresies exist, guess what? If you didn't have church history, how would you know what a heresy was today? Just with the Bible. You just have the Bible. How would you know to push back against heresies? You couldn't. You wouldn't even know. Anything that's true that requires the passing down of that wisdom through successive generations needs a true tradition. Because there's nothing taught that in the instance of teaching it somehow escapes tradition. That is tradition in activity. The question is there an authoritative tradition? Is there a true tradition? Is there a true holy tradition from Christ himself? We say yes, and we can defend it. You say yes, and you can't. Anyway, let's watch Metaphysics Mike.
Think you're real? Okay, cool. All right, welcome. Are you a creationist, Metaphysics Mike?
Yes, I am.
Okay, finally someone. Thank you. All right, so you're here to debunk Dave, right?
I'm going to do my best.
Okay.
We got limited time and patience.
Limited time,
but
patience.
We'll see.
Limited time.
Let's do it.
That's a bumper stick.
Do you have a child on your lap?
I do. Yes, I do. Listen, I got to take this opportunity. Nobody's joining, man. I get to speak with Professor Dave. Oh, yeah, we're going to take it, even though I'm with my son. This is
that alone, we have respect. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Dave, do you agree that DNA contains highly specific information?
Of a living organism, yeah. Not in general. Right? It can be, you can have a DNA strand of any random nucleobases, but the DNA of a living organism has the code for that organism. Yeah.
Okay, so DNA is not just like a chemical blob. It stores instructions using symbolic sequences.
No, it's not a symbolic sequence.
Oh boy, ooh, he's nice. Metaphysics Mike already has him sort of like scooching his cheeks on what he probably has an office ball. Professor Davis probably sits on an office ball. You're presenting an argument about history that I'm not conflicting, okay? The question isn't whether there's historic tradition. No, the question is there a true church, Dean? Really, just to make it really clean, is there a true church? That's the question to you.
It's a sequence of nucleobases, right? You just have ACTG in some order.
An excursion.
That doesn't make it a blob, right? So let's say
not sequences metaphysics already. Oh man, Dave is so out of his element. A sequence is metaphysics. Like you're talking about something conceptual. There's no sequence. A sequence is something that we have to interpret. Is that a sequence or is it not? Is it unrelated particulars?
Sometimes
segments?
You're going to do a whole like specified information.
Got him scooching
thing, right?
Oh God, just stop. He's such a dickbag, dude. Oh, you're going to do this thing. No, just answer his questions.
No.
Okay, then keep going. Let's hear it.
Okay, DNA contains highly specific information. You agree? Yes.
It has the DNA of right, not generally.
He's like a lawyer. He should have been
DNA,
a lawyer.
Right? You can have a DNA molecule with any random sequence of nucleobases. The DNA contained within the genome of a living organism has a sequence that is specific to that organism. It doesn't inherently have specified information.
He loves the word inherently. Nothing's inherent. Zero inherent anything to anything. There's inherent doesn't exist ever anywhere.
Okay, so are you familiar with the tool CRISPR? You know what that is, certainly, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so are you aware that scientists use CRISPR to put a GIF inside a living organism's DNA? How is that possible?
What do you mean, how is that possible? You can excise any portion of the DNA and put in any sequence you want. You can synthesize a sequence of DNA and insert it in a genome wherever you want.
Here's the thing is DNA is intelligible. So from his view, it just incidentally matches sequencing capabilities, right? That means that the information is not identical to the matter itself. That's the distinction here. The real distinction, philosophically speaking, is Dave only can appeal to strict matter, but in his talking about evolution, he's appealing to something that's not strict matter, which Metaphysics Mike is actually bringing up, which, maybe this isn't a good angle for this type of call-in because it's more of a deeper debate, but the ontology alone of these things would send this dum-dum down an insane path because the ontology of information isn't identical to the material that the information is attributed to or assigned to. So, one question is whether the church, quote, is limited to the borders of orthodoxy or the true church is bigger in the bounds of ortho church. Well, to say the church, you're going to have to say something. You're going to have to track back to Christ. So if you make it big and ambiguous, which is most people do that, they just say, well, no, it's just anyone who just kind of like feels good about Christ and says he's the Lord or whatever. then you don't have an ecclesiology then, because that person can just be an affirmed priest and declare themselves a priest and start teaching anything they want. So is there, look, if the question of whether the church is limited to the, quote, borders of orthodoxy, or if it's bigger, the size of it doesn't matter, because the true church could be, consist of 10 bishops left on earth. The size of it doesn't matter. The question is whether there is a true teaching of Christ or a false teaching. Is there true teaching or is there false teaching? Dave needs to be dismantled again and again. Well, I'm glad he's putting himself in harm's way at least. So Metaphysics Mike's doing quite well right now against him.
It's site-specific gene editing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a sequence of specific information like...
And Dane, you could super chat more questions, but for the sake of this being maybe a clip, I'm going to save them for after, because I want to get through this and focus on this material.
Coder language, yes?
It's not coder language. It's just you can have a DNA molecule with any random sequence of nucleobases. The DNA contained within the genome of a living organism has a sequence that is specific to that organism. It doesn't inherently have specified information.
Okay, so are you familiar with the tool CRISPR? You know what that is, certainly, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so are you aware that scientists use CRISPR to put a GIF inside a living organism's DNA? How is that possible?
What do you mean, how is that possible? You can excise any portion of the DNA and put in any sequence you want. You can synthesize a sequence of DNA and insert it in a genome wherever you want. It's site-specific gene editing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a sequence of specific information like coder language, yes?
It's not coder language. It's just...
It's like coder language.
It's not. You have 4 bases. And
all right, so then you're just wrong. You're already wrong. We're in premise 1 and you've already lost. DNA is specific coded information. Yeah, no, Professor Dave,
It's true. DNA codes 4 things.
You don't know that DNA is coded information. Would you like to try again?
I know that you can go from DNA to mRNA to protein, if that's what you're talking about. You're just obfuscating with whining about semantics, right?
No.
Let's talk about CRISPR. How does CRISPR do anything that you're right? Human beings say, I'm going to insert this sequence into the genome right there. Who cares? What does that have to do with anything?
What it shows is that it's a pattern, right? It can be manipulated. You talk about TCG, right? Okay, yes, so that makes it
DNA.
Code. That makes it a code, like information. Okay, so let's try this again.
Describe it as a code.
DNA contains highly specific information. Yes.
In a living organism, you're starting to repeat yourself. We're getting really close to muting and bailing on you, dude.
Oh yeah, there he goes. Muting, and we're gonna mute you.
You don't understand that DNA is code. You haven't comprehended that yet.
I just said that a gene codes for a protein. Yes.
Okay,
code.
Great. Okay,
so himself. Any random DNA strand.
Dude, he just contradicted himself. It was really simple. He just said, this is coded information. He goes, no, it's not coded. It's not the language of coding. And yet he just admitted that it codes for certain expressions, right? He's just such a... Dude, he's just the worst, man. He's the worst. They get so mad by semantics. If it's not that important in a debate. Yeah, it's so important, especially here. Like, we're talking about basically kind of like the nature of these things. Like, is it just incidental that it's meaningfully coded, that is ostensibly meaningfully coded, such that it can be edited? Like, the fact that you can edit something at all means that the thing that you're editing, in this case, in the context of this, because it's instructions. We're talking about instructions. So like if you edit an instruction packet and then it produces some other thing, like ChatGPT is a good example. If the input can alter the output, Dave and company from an evolutionary view has to say that's totally incidental. When Forrest Valkai was talking about this, he was like, yes, the genes during the embryonic stage, there are these markers which tell you when, where, and what a leg is in this process. That's instructional. That's forward. This is information that has to do with the future unfolding. That's a good way of putting it. The information that's existing has to do with the future unfolding.
Code just because you say so. You can have a random, you can have a strand, you can have a DNA strand of random basis that doesn't code for anything.
It's true.
Okay, all right. So you're agreeing with me that DNA contains specific information. All right, premise 2. Codes and information.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't just say that it's coherent and intelligible. It's supporting teleology. Cam Bam, that's wrong. What Mike is asking leads to a whole other slew of things, which he probably won't be able to get to because he's already threatening to mute him, which is this. If there's code for future unfolding events, it's not just coherency and intelligibility, Cam Bam. It's not just that. Now we're talking to future-based, properly placed events of things. That's like this is the beginning of a teleological take, which coincidentally evolution proponents deny, which is insane because if you deny some sort of teleological, and I'm not talking about rainbow sunshine rays on your face, I figured out the meaning of life and my own purpose. I'm talking about the purpose of specific tasks inside of biology.
In an ordinary experience come from minds. Do you agree with that?
We can create codes. That doesn't mean anything that acts as a code must come from a mind. That's
okay. So let me get this right. Computer code, books, blueprints, software.
Yeah, those are all things that humans created. Humans can create things. That doesn't mean that DNA was made by intelligence.
Do humans have minds?
Derek,
do humans have minds?
Let's get a finger on the mute and disconnect button.
Oh, what a dude! You suck so bad. He asked you if human beings have minds, and you're like, hey, daddy, this is why they don't debate. These people suck. Myth Vision, you're a sucker, dude. You're such a failure. Okay, Daddy Dave, I got my finger on the mute button for Daddy. You're pathetic, dude. Myth Vision fail, dude. L's in the chat for Myth Vision. Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy. Unbelievable, man. Yeah, do human beings have minds? Look, he's in the same weird spot when I asked him, does the brain have a purpose to think? He has to say no. Minds, he actually does. An evolution proponent, because they end up being strict materialists, they can't actually say you have a mind. They just have to say you have a brain, which incidentally does things. That's it. That's all it does. It accidentally reasons.
Here, this guy's getting real testy.
Yeah, we're getting.
Oh, he's getting real testy. He's pushing back on you, you goblin.
Getting heated here, and I'm enjoying that we're getting heated, but we gotta let Professor Dave at least get some back and forth here.
Yeah, my bad. If I cut you off too early, Dave, my bad.
Humans can create codes. That doesn't mean that any system that behaves as a code must be created. That's fallacious reasoning. Sorry.
Okay, all right. So then you're still agreeing, though, that everything like DNA in our world, like code, books, blueprints, software,
are not like DNA. Books are not like DNA.
You can tell him not to cut me off, Myth?
Nice.
You can tell him not to cut me off?
Okay,
Let him
know.
Here.
We're done. We're done.
We're done here. We're done. I can't take this. Ugh. Dave, you pathetic coward. What a pathetic coward. Okay. Well, does he actually kick you off at this point?
We're done.
All right.
He's not yelling. He's talking over. He's talking over Dave, who's interrupting. Not yelling. You guys suck so bad. You know what I'm saying? You guys are terrible. Okay. There's actually another guy who calls in. I doubt it's going to be as lively as that. But one thing, if Metaphysics Mike, you're still here, this is where you could take it in the future with this guy. The moment someone like Dave admits information exists, because the mind, yeah, that's a good angle because they can't justify that from their materialistic, naturalistic view, but they can't with information either. So you already had him with information. Now, Metaphysics Mike, if you're still here, once Dave admits there's information, that it exists, and second, that he admits that it's not identical to material, he's now engaged with a trap, because what happens with information is, because it's not identical to material, information is conceptual. So the next time you talk to him, if anyone like this, I doubt he'll talk to you again. But But you go, okay, does information exist? He'll say, of course, yeah. You go, is information concrete or is it conceptual? And he'll get all squirrely then. He'll probably give you 5 minutes of just avoiding and being like, well, it's both or whatever he'll say. But the reality is that the information we attribute to material isn't identical to the material. And if it's not identical to the material, then it's abstracta. And if it's abstracta, they don't have an ontology for abstracta absent mind. So now you have this universal information. If evolution was true, you'd have the universality of what information is as a necessary component of evolution, but they can't tell you what it is without a mind. So it's not just the instruction part that you can get them on, like, oh, coding means direction and purpose, input, output, right? Instruction, behavior, this kind of stuff. It's actually the ontology of information that they can't deal with, that they'll kick you if you ask that again. But it'll be fun to watch. It's really, you really had them from the start with information. All you need from these people is to claim information exists and that it's not identical to matter. And then they're like, what? Oh my gosh, I've never had to deal with this. This guy, I'm going to guess, is not going to do as well as Mike.
I don't know, but I got some questions related to it.
Shoot.
Oh, probability. Yeah, you can get them. They probably won't even let you on for that long to do the probability thing. You did it fine with the other guy. I forget who it was, but probabilities need some sort of invariant constant laws. But how could they have that from this flux existence that they're arguing for? They can't.
Okay. Well, first a comment. I think
ontology
I do know that Mike guy. I think code is just a description of the mechanics. You know, would you agree with that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
No, code's not a description of the mechanics. Code, in this case, and in the case of actual coding in the computing, would be telling the mechanics, the informing of the mechanics. If there was a computer that was doing something, if I described what it was doing, that wouldn't change the instruction of what it does. This is just totally categorically wrong.
You have a sequence of nucleobases that are read by RNA polymerase to generate an mRNA transcript, and the mRNA transcript is read in the ribosome.
Look, dude, this is so wild. He's using the term transcription, and he's trying to push back on Mike saying, look, we're talking about intelligible, meaningful information, right? He's like, no. What does transcribe mean? What are we talking about?
To generate a protein. So in that sense,
incidental, accidental transcription of information.
Right? You have codons, these three bases that code for a particular amino acid. So it is perfectly acceptable to refer to it as a code.
Coherence doesn't require causal relationship. It depends what you're talking about. I mean, if you're saying coherence, if that required the mechanics of your brain doing an evaluation, then you'd have to assume some kind of causality. Coherence, I'm not sure what you mean then when you say causal. Are you saying that, like, hypothetically the universe could be completely static and still with no movement, but still intelligible to view? Sure, from that level. But you'd then be granting yourself something called viewing, that there's time between you looking at the world and taking input, and the processing of input data and analysis of it is some sort of unfolding process that requires at least hardware. I'm not sure what you mean by that. But we might agree on that, but I'm just not sure.
Doesn't then
purpose is post hoc? No. You can't get to post hoc unless your brain has purpose. No, you can't. You don't have access to necessity, ad hoc, post hoc, these distinctions, unless you affirm that your brain has purpose to reason. What are you talking about? Total L. You just got rid of all reasoning, dude. It's over. You just cooked yourself. You just jumped into a bucket of boiling, shrimp sauce.
Follow that just because we make codes, that was made by something sentient.
Oh boy, I just can't. Good. Well, good job, Mike. At least they got one guy in there. They got oh, this guy's wild, dude. Oh my gosh, this guy I had a huge spat with this guy on tacos. He is the prot king. He's like a protty, my Bible alone king.
Is this correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
You guys are in for a treat.
What's your problem with what Dave? You
guys are in for a treat.
Teaches?
Well,
he's going to start saying scripture.
I do think there's strong arguments, strong cumulative case for old Earth and evolution, but I do still doubt them. I think my problem with people like you, Dave, is
you remember him?
You seem a little bit too certain about it, and also I would also say that it's odd the way they try to deny things like
let him cook, please.
Say, well, these evidences are strong, therefore no God, or therefore no design possibility, or you know what I mean? That's what I find.
But no, it was certainly not no God. Right? Science does not disprove.
You notice how retarded Derek and Dave are here because their title is Creationist Call in to Debate Professor Dave. Can an atheist who doesn't believe in evolution call in and debate you guys? Or what? Or you have to be a creationist to argue against evolution? Okay.
Prove God, and I've never said that. So I mean, I feel like you're mischaracterizing me. I mean, you cannot find a quote of me saying anything like that. But more importantly, what I want to say is that when I make content debunking creationist propaganda, it's not to mock the idea of religiosity or belief in God or anything. These are very coordinated propaganda campaigns, right? When I debunk Discovery Institute, they very deliberately and deceptively lie about scientific research to the point where they doctor data tables and misrepresent. They lie. Like I have to get quotes from the researcher saying, yeah, they're lying about my research. Like it's really deceptive, toxic rhetoric. So it's not to shame believers, right? I'm trying to.
Is this new? Yeah, this is live, actually.
Expose their sources of information so that they hopefully can come to the conclusion on their own that they.
It literally is. He mocks it. This guy's such a fork-tongued demon slug.
Put stock in the wrong sources of information.
Oh, he's being so benevolent now. Oh, it's about hey, look, I'm putting on my political talker. Guys, I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything. I'm not trying to belittle your beliefs. I'm just objectively going through it, I'm just trying to learn what you guys believe and just kind of push back on it, You're so full of shit.
And then, maybe evolve in their worldview on their own. But the goal is never to go like, if you believe in God, you're dumb. I've never, ever said it. In fact, earlier in this conversation with Derek, we were talking about specifically that I'm not offended.
Yeah, I saw. It's unfortunate too because the prompt is going to be so muddled. It's going to be terrible. It'll be entertaining because it's him, right? And it's also that other guy I debated, Austin, the other evolution biologist who I still have to edit some of the takedowns of that guy. But it's creation versus evolution. Creation versus evolution.
Whatsoever by the belief in God, simply by science denial and specifically anti-science propaganda. So,
what do you disagree with Dave on? I mean, what would you? I mean, he believes evolution. He believes abiogenesis. Life came from non-life.
Okay, I would say that's like a major problem. I think you're kind of. I don't know too much about your work, but I've seen a few of your videos, and I do feel like you kind of make it seem as if abiogenesis.
Where did life come from then? If life didn't come from organic, chemistry, if you will, how did it come to be then, Toronto? That's kind of a. I know you well enough, by the way, Dave. I know Toronto well enough. We've had engagement several times. Like, what's your problem with what Dave said? Like, why is creationism true? You know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
dude. He really is. He's terrible. Terrible.
Well, what do you say about the origin of life, Dave? I'm not really sure.
Okay, I mean, see, the problem with this topic is it's extremely dense. It requires a lot of discussion of molecular biology principles that are not, I mean, it's hard to explain, which is why I have hours and hours and hours of content.
Counterfactual realities are false. There is no could have been purpose. There's no could have been, so you don't believe in your will. So you couldn't have not said that. You couldn't have not posted that comment. Now you don't have any epistemology. Dude, you just keep digging a deeper hole. Purpose, which is a proposition. No, propositions, you can't make a proposition without assuming that your mind is capable of making propositions. That is to say, your mind can properly or improperly think and deliver the goods. There's no valid theories of teleology that don't presuppose causality. Well, what would that matter anyway? If you deny that your own brain has no purpose for truth and reasoning, then there's no incorrect or proper way to think. Therefore, your conclusion, there's no valid theories of teleology. There would be no valid theories at all under this view, because you deny that your own thinker doesn't have the purpose for thinking.
And going through primary literature and explaining these different models. I mean, what is it worth, like trying to summarize it in a Cliff Notes fashion? I certainly could try to do that.
Can I say this then? That I think there's in the field, there's a kind of acknowledgement of this gap between the chemistry and the first kind of
protocell
machinery you would require to have a cell, like a ribosome or something like that. There's this acknowledgement that,
well, not a ribosome.
In the field, there's this acknowledgement that that's a serious problem for them right now, right? Or what would you say about that?
Sure. So I would say a couple things. The first thing I would say is that the creationists will constantly misrepresent the field and what the first protocell would be. So the worst creationists will show a eukaryotic cell, a modern eukaryotic cell with all of the organelles and everything.
He's presupposing when he says modern.
Everything, and go, how did this just happen?
Yeah.
No, this is ridiculous.
Even a ribosome is very difficult to come to just from chemistry, right? Like that's the problem, isn't it?
Not necessarily. It's just an RNA.
Boring. Anyway, what else you guys got in the chat? What else you guys got going on? A dog comes from a dog. Squirrels don't come from hippopotamus. Pineapples don't come from iguanas. All that can be coherently extrapolated from the cogito is the thing happening. No, you're granting yourself the mind again, dude. What is wrong with you? Are you a junkie? Are you some sort of junkie? Do you have, like, both your arms tied off with party balloons? Dude. Cogito is fallacious. It doesn't make any sense. Conclusion. Think, therefore, conclusion. No. There's a whole slew of necessary preconditions before you even do crappy cogito. Okay, suck. Yeah, he's the worst. Anytime he's like on a panel, he shows up, I'm like, I'm out of here. So bad. Yeah, this is what I'm saying, yeah. Cogito presupposes time. It presupposes identity, relations between identities. It presupposes laws, regularity, right? The regularity in time, the regularity of nature in time, Dixon. Few things there. Presupposes you had parents. They had parents. Nature exists. You die, you live. All sorts of stuff. Language. It's just, I don't know how, guys, I don't know how he got, like, Descartes ran with that. Maybe he, like, Isn't he the one who created the Cartesian plane? I think he created something cool that would ultimately produce Minecraft. And they were like, yeah, no, totally, yeah, that guy. And he was like, oh, I think, therefore I am. And they were like, yeah, no, sure, just put that in there too. That works too. The mind is fundamental. No, dude. You don't have a distinction what a mind is. We don't grant you a mind from your view. Cam Bam? What are you talking about, a mind? You don't have a mind. You have a material, wet item called a brain. You don't got a mind. What you talking about, son? You're all over the place. No, I have a mind and I think properly. I'm talking about after I grant myself that. Then let's do philosophy. No. Sorry, Cam Bam. You need a map pad? I think I'm a werewolf. Yeah. I think I'm a werewolf, therefore... Oh! Yeah, it's just chemicals in the brain, dude. Come on, dude. All right. Let's do something fun. Shall we? You guys ready to do something fun? Are you ready? It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, you guys. Hold on a second. Hold on to your horses. You just hold on to your horses real quick. Thank you so much for that. Any tips I can become philosophically based like you? Where to start? Well, I'm actually not very philosophically versed as far as distinctions, history of philosophy, and this kind of stuff. Maybe just fundamentals, introduction of philosophy over at Father Deacon Ananias' channel, maybe. Basic, I mean, logic, like you can, logically fallacious is pretty good by that Bo guy. Whole book of logic, fallacies to learn. That's a really good place to start. If evolution is gradual, are we less human or more of something? No, they would say there's never more or less human. They never say that. They say humans are humans and then they die humans. And then you're like, yeah, but they had to branch off, right? And they're like, yeah, that too. Don't worry about it. Oh, dude, this is not good already. It loaded wrong. Hold on a second, you guys. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, boy. I need to go somewhere. I need to take a nap somewhere. I need some... I'm scared. What do I have? I have a machete. Do I have any bullets in this thing? What do I got? Maybe one bullet. Ruh-roh. That's a guy right there. That's not good. That's not good. I wish it was a little light out. I don't know if I have a flashlight, actually. If you guys are wondering what game this is, it's called Surrounded. It's a very cutesy... It's very cutesy, I'll say. It's got a very... Are you a bad guy? Hey, are you a bad guy? Sir? Sir? Okay, he's not going to kill me. That's nice. Let's see what we got going on up this hill, shall we? See that what you guys are seeing is a little darker than what I'm seeing. I might have to mess with that real quick. Uh-oh. Scary music time. No. No. Oh, I don't have any more. I don't have any more. No, 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 no. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Oh my gosh. Oh, goodness gracious. Bro. Bro. At least I had a shotgun. All right, 22. This is not good. Oh my goodness. Here we go. They ain't messing around. Come on. Come on. Die. Die. You blood-sucking liberal. All right. The music isn't very helping. It's not helping me. Guys? Guys? All right. Something. Yeah, I'll smoke a cigarette. That'll help. What is this? Shotgun? Where's the shotgun? Wait, where is it? Oh, I don't have a... Wait, how does that work? How do I load the shotgun? Anybody? No? All right. I need to eat something or do something. I need something. What is this? Oil, rope, more cigarettes, light, tools. I need some food or something. This ain't right. This is not right. What's this? Can? Nope. Oh boy. Anybody know how to load their shotgun? I would. Oh, look at that. What's down there? Here we go. This is promising. There's got to be something to eat in here. Got to be some food or medical equipment. I'm going to die with one more hit. I'm done. Anything? Refrigerator. Ooh, refrigerator, please. Please, refrigerator. What's this? Yes. Loot. Okay. Where is it? Oh, I can't even use it? What's this, dude? This ain't good. What's that, a key card? $100. How do I sell this? That's what I want to know. Where do you sell things? Anyone play this game? Is there anybody out there? What do we got here? Here we go. Oh, yeah. Eat that. Bottle. Nah. Vehicle wreck. Yeah, there's some pudding in here. What's this? That's cool. Toilet roll? I don't need to... Here we go. Smartphone. What's this? Yeah. Alright, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good score. What's in here, Buttercup? Ooh. Filthy refrigerator. I feel like I'm in Baltimore or something. Lunchbox. Nah, I don't need any of that, bro. I don't need any of that stuff. That's not essential. Like the liver. I wonder if I can get in here. What do we got in here? There's nothing in there. So, into the woods I go. Am I right? Oh, look, a deer. Kidding me? You stay. Hey, Bambi. Oh, I don't have any. All right. I'm sorry. This is not the way to hunt, but... Oh, I don't even have gun. All right. Looks like I'm chasing you down. Sorry. Sorry. All right. What happens? Deer head. Drop the deer head. Drop the deer head. Loot. Oh, I gotta move things. All right. Wire. No thanks. Wood plank. Probably not gonna need it. Deer meat. 100%. What's this? Ammo. What's this? Ooh, sardines. All right. Okay. This can go there. This can go here. It's not letting me do it. What's this? I don't need a magazine. I don't need this either. All right. Now I gotta cook, you guys. Now I gotta cook. You guys still with me? Did my stream end? Are you guys okay? Is my chat still going? Let's go deep into the woods now. Still need more medicine. 50% not promising. Not looking good for me, you guys. Should I save? I should probably save. 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 Yes. Jewish communities. This is not multiplayer, just so you guys know. And I think it's made by one person. That's pretty cool, huh? This is made by one person. Pretty inspiring. Ooh, what's that? Campsite. I don't understand. How do you reload? There's got to be a way to reload. What is this? This is 7.62. I got 18. How do I load it, though? What the heck, man? Inspect. Unload ammo? No. It's right there. Guys. Oh, do I have to switch him? Oh. No. Someone tell me. Someone tell me how to do it. Please show me the way. This is where you guys are supposed to comment and say, hit this button. There's got to be a way to unload this. Q? No. E? No. R? There we go, R. There we go. Now I'm ready. Truly inspiring music. Oh, I see you, dear. Oh, I see you, little guy. I see you. I see you, big buck. There you go, little guy. Sorry, Bamba. Deer head. Nice. I'm getting venison. Sick. What's this? Smoke another cig. Antiseptic. Probably need that. Don't need a lamp. Do I really need a radio? I don't think so. Tape? Pfft, what for? Who cares? Doesn't matter. You know what? I'm playing for deer. I'm changing the nature of this game. I don't want to wait. I can't waste. I can't do it. I can't waste more bullets on a deer. What? What was that? What? Did I hear Amy Schumer? I thought that was Amy Schumer. Oh, it's just you. Hey, little. This is where I discover something massive. This is where the game changes forever. Right here, right now. This is where I look. I think I have. Oh, yeah. I think I have something. What do I have here? Oh, yeah, these. How do I use these? Binoculars. More problems with just basic gameplay. There's a guy on the ground over there. Poor guy. Paraplegic zombie. Special Zombie Olympics. Ooh, is there a car? Ooh. I have gas. I have gasoline. Here, let me take my machete out. I see you there. I see you there, Zombo. No. Nothing really special. Ooh, this is special, though. Crates? Nope. Oh, hey, guy. My favorite thing is trash. Here we go. Ooh, wow. Score. Skirt. Bottle alcohol. .12 gauge. All right, let's blow a zombie brain off. Oh. Sick. I mean, I like a little more gore than that. Wait, what? What? I like a little more gore than that myself. What the hell was that, bro? Dude. Freaking wolf? Oh, 10%, dude. Oh, goodness. Wolf head? Can I wear it? Oh, no. I think I'm done, you guys. I think this is it. I think this is it, you guys. I got 10% left. This is the end for me. That's it for me. Oh, man. This is sad. This is sad. This is my only hope here, up here. Ah! Dude. Holy crap, dude! Please be medicine, please be medicine, please be medicine. A pink backpack. Oh gosh. What is this? What is any of this? 308? I can't really deal with this right now. I don't have... Oh, it's over for me. Probably shouldn't be making all this noise. What's this? Trash bag? Band-Aids, maybe? There could be Band-Aids in here. You never know. You never know. Toilet roll. Oil. Compass is cool. Flare? Baseball bat's pretty good to have. What's that? Toothbrush? It's not helping me now. I need medicine and I need it now. Alright, what's this? Generator sick. Nothing I need though. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, when am I going to find a generator again? Should I do it? It's a lot of weight. Gas, tool. Man, this is a tough one. What the hell is this rock? Oh, it's a 6er, I see. Oh, no. You know what? Let's move this around and... There you go. What? Wait, what the hell, bro? Okay. Alright, I got the generator. Let's go to save. Actually, no. I should save a new slot. Quick save creates a new slot. No, I need a new slot. What? Oh, there it is. There it is. Call that 10% life. There we go. So gray here. Crash helicopter. You know, zombie at 2 o'clock. Oh, dude, I died. I died. There it is. And there it is, you guys. That's it for me. And then it's over. Okay? It's over for me. There we go. It's fun while it lasted, you guys. It was good. It's a good game. So I highly recommend it. All right. No, gray mode means I was going to die. So I didn't think about it. So, all right. Well, I'll send you guys off to see the wizard. All right. Where do you guys want to be? I know you want to be here with me. I know that. But other than here with me, I'll read some things off to you and you guys tell me. Some places to go, people to see. All righty. You got The Line, Monkey Boy. Let's go to hello listener. Oh, crowd favorite. All right. There we go. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Had basically 2 streams today because I did my own violating. That's not good. But we made it work. We survived. I'm getting smarter. I got smarter. So that's it. God bless you all. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll be working on some things. And I'm kind of inspired to animate. Now I watch that thing from Andrew, I'm like, I got to do more animation. So other than that, God bless you all. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See you guys over at the other places with Talking Heads.
Jimmy crack corn and I don't really care no more. What he gotta say, it's irrelevant. Once upon a time, could have been a partner of mine. Now he's getting checks from the government. I don't care where your idol stands, protecting his hands from culture jams with the oven. Just another soldier got caught, all ain't what you thought. Nothing here was done for the fun of it. I don't care what you say, I'm on some new shit. I don't care if you're digging what I'm doing. I don't care what you think about my music. I don't care, you're not the reason I do this. Always up, always going. I don't care if I die without you knowing. Tried to catch your eye for a stint until I realized what that meant. Jimmy crack corn and I don't really care no more. What he gotta say, it's irrelevant. Once upon a time, could have been a partner of mine. Now he's getting checks from the government. I don't care where your idol stands, protecting his hands from culture jams with the oven. That's another soldier got caught, on it what you thought. Nothing here was done for the fun of it. I don't care what you say, I'm on some new shit. I don't care if you're digging what I'm doing. I don't care what you think about my music. I don't care, you're not the reason I do this. Always up, always going. I don't care if I die without you knowing. Tried to catch your eye for a stint until I realized what that meant.